Okay, so we're live. No one
Cool.
can see this because I put it as private. But yes, today, welcome to Dave and Ryan review. Um,
Welcome.
Doing Superman 78, uh, film starring Christopher Reeve, Margot Kidder, and Marlon Brando. The story is about a baby sent from the doomed planet Krypton to planet Earth, and once he gets there, he's discovered by the Kents, Martha and Jonathan, and then we chart his journey from boy to man as he becomes Superman, and we watch his reveal to the world.
Mm.
So it's obviously this is just for me and you, Dave. You know, we like films, and we thought it'd be a good idea, um, and thought we'd start with a movie that we both love,
Mm.
uh, and both I think you know think is quite good. But obviously, we'll go into why.
Yeah.
But no, what do you just in summary? What do you think of the film first before we sort of get into detail?
I guess when I think about this film, I just think about when I was a kid, when I used to watch this, and I remember being at my grandma's, and I could just remembering, like that helicopter scene. I actually feel like I
Yeah,
remember the build up to that, and it felt quite dangerous, and that she was actually going to die. And when he sort of becomes Superman, that scene sort of was incredible for me as
mm,
a kid. So that sort of nostalgic, Superman can fly thing was
yeah,
just awesome for me. What about you?
yeah. I think when I think about it, it just I always if I even when I think about Superman in general, I think of Christopher Reeve, and I think it's because of this film.
Mm,
Um, he it's just like you said, that the build up to him, showing that he's Superman, and the music, and like you said,
mm,
the little things that happens, like, oh look, the helicopter's falling off the building, and he catches it, and then what he says afterwards, flying is safest way, still safest way to travel, and all those sorts of things. It's just I feel like it's perfect to how I always thought
he,
Superman
he is
was.
the character of
Like, after
Superman.
yeah, even after I was a kid, and obviously when you're a kid, you're like, "Oh my god, someone can fly."
Mm,
But then when you watch it as an adult, and you maybe watch different incarnations of Superman or read some stuff about Superman, I think you go back to that and you still go, "Wow, this guy and these people made something so." Unfortunately, they
yeah,
didn't have the technology at the time to make it, the singing and dancing action film, but they made
mm.
something like in terms of his character nearly perfect for
Yeah. It
me.
was it was so original, and yeah, it set the kind of it set the platform, didn't it, for everything we have now.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
I
Yeah,
mean,
it set the bar. I think it's still, it's probably still in the, easily probably in the top 10 of, comic book films
mm.
ever. I feel like that wouldn't be a stretch to put it in there.
And
Um,
I think when you said music as well, like that's one of the first things I think of is the music, and not just the main theme, the Krypton theme,
yeah.
like the bit where his dad dies,
Mm,
Jonathan Kent, and the
mm,
funeral, and all of that. There's you could probably listen to this soundtrack and you would just remember every scene in the film. John
mm.
Williams obviously is unbelievable, but this is arguably one of his best. In my opinion, like this was 1978 and we're still singing this song,
Yeah.
and yeah, love it.
Yeah. And even just the bit where he's flying with, Lois or whatever. And
The love
just,
theme, yeah.
yeah, like it's just, there's so, like you said, so many, like you could probably listen to it and chart the whole film. And I think that's just
Mm.
how well the music fit. There's just certain films where the music just takes you back into the film because they just were so good. They went so well together.
Mm.
John Williams guy's just crazy. How many good themes he came up with, and
Yeah, we could
iconic.
we could we could do a video just on him, really, couldn't we?
Yeah, yeah, maybe that probably is an idea to try and rate his top songs, which might be impossible, but
Mm.
um, I guess you can go. We'll go into detail for me. I don't know if you want to start, or I don't mind starting either.
Yeah. Well, my next point that I was going to bring up was
Okay.
him on Krypton.
Yeah, yeah,
So just yeah, I remember that sort of sadness of him as a baby. Like and the
Yeah.
parents having to send him off. You know, like you really felt the weight of that. You know, like, and it's like they couldn't go with him, but they had to send him, and they're looking after, you know, this. So that was always pretty powerful. And obviously, you know, Marlon Brando. I mean, I always think, like, how did that guy get so much money?
Yeah, no, it's so ridiculous how much money he obviously ends up getting for the film.
I think he got more than Christopher Reeve, didn't he?
Probably all of them put together, he probably got more than. You know, but his role is still so important in it. You know, even though he's only in the script. I think there's some ridiculous stat of how much screen time he actually was in the film. I don't know off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure it's like 4 or 5 minutes, stupid like that. But you know, like it just adds, like you said, and you know that you feel like they are parents. Like, oh man, you know, you feel the emotion that they're sending their child off into the unknown, basically, and hoping that he survives and lives on. Definitely.
Yeah, and I think it's a bit, you know, we obviously won't talk about other films because it's about this one, but it was quite. I think it's quite a long sequence, isn't it? Where from leaving Krypton and that blowing up to Earth, and you sort of see him in the pod, learning and being educated, and
it's quite psychedelic as well. There's all those colors, and he's flying through black holes, and you know,
it's quite a journey.
Yeah, like it's quite a long. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's quite a long sequence, actually, probably longer than you remember, that he's in that pod, and you know, he lands next to the Kents or whatever, and they, you know, and
that scene seems amazing as well. I mean, kid lifting the car up, you know,
picks up the car.
Yeah, it's hilarious, you know.
Yeah, you know, they're just stunned by what the hell, and they can't really, understand what's going on. So. I think we'll dive into sort of pros and cons, I guess, of the film. I'll list a couple, and then I guess you go pros, and then we can sort of go back and forth.
Yeah.
For me, probably the biggest pro for the whole thing is just Christopher Reeve. I mean,
I was going to say the same thing.
The guy, you know, as Clark Kent, as Superman. I mean, as Clark Kent, you could genuinely believe he could get away with no one actually believing that this guy is Superman, because he's just he plays it so like unassuming, so pathetic. Like, you know, when they're getting mugged and he falls over and he's like, "Oh, I fainted a little bit," and then she goes, "Damn it, Clark!" and then he like has the bullet in his hand. He's like, you know, like, and he but he plays it so well, and he's getting bumped around, and he's getting knocked over, and you know,
he just fits into society so well, to the point where even I'm going, is that him? Like, like
he's just so
he plays two characters, doesn't he? Like so well.
So well. Like, he just and then when it's Superman, he's just like this. He looks giant. He looks massive. Like, he was obviously a big guy. You know,
I think he was like 6'3" or something.
Yeah, he obviously worked out really a lot for the film, and he just sort of comes. He's very imposing as Superman, and it's that difference between Clark and, you know, and Superman. I think he nails probably more than anyone that's done it since. You know, the fact that, you know, this guy has to live two lives, and has to, you know, make it so it's not obvious that this, you know, giant 6'3" man is actually Superman, flying about the place and doing all this stuff, and you can believe it. And yeah, he's the smile, you know, even at the last scene where he's above Earth and he sort of just smirks, and it's just like, you know, just
it takes a while. It takes a while for Christopher Reeve to actually be on screen because of the setup.
Yeah, of course.
Obviously, going back to the Smallville, I know you're not the biggest fan of the kid that plays him.
Yeah,
I didn't mind him. And I think I swear they use Christopher Reeve's voice.
It's just
but yeah, that, you know, going back, I suppose we going back a little bit, but for me, the Smallville sort of set up and his dad dying, you know, it is incredibly powerful, because it's I have all these powers and I couldn't save him, you know, and it's kind of, you know, humbling almost, isn't it, to sort of, he's got all these godlike powers, he can't, you know, well, he does turn back time, but that's a con on my list.
That's one on my list as well. Yeah,
But you
definitely.
care. But you care a little bit. You want him to put everything right. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, you sort of let it slide just because the rest of the film's been so good that you're like, all right. But it is a con on my list as well.
Yeah, you want him to put things right, and then when you see Lois just like, "Hey, blah, blah," you're like, "I'd let her die," but nah, I'm joking. But yeah,
No, definitely. So yeah, no, and yeah, it comes to another sort of con that even though obviously a con on my list is just the person that plays young Clark, not necessarily the whole sequence of that being in Smallville and kicking the football and he's running next to the train and all that other stuff. It's just the guy that plays him just bothers me. Just his face. I don't know whether they tried to sort of augment it to look more like Christopher Reeve or
did they have that technology back then? I don't know. I think he just looked a bit weird looking.
Yeah, maybe just was just weird looking. Like I don't know. it just always put me off. But you're right about like Jonathan Kent's death. It really, it does. It makes, for me, it's always one of the most important lessons that all this, most of the Superman incarnations we've had. I think New Adventures and Man of Steel, I guess.
Maybe I can't even remember how he dies in Lois and Clark.
Does he end up dying? I thought he was alive.
That's what you were saying. I don't know. Well,
I didn't think in Lois and Clark because obviously they're always on the phone and that, isn't it? So
yeah.
I think other than maybe a couple of incarnations, Jonathan Kent's died, and I always think, and died of a heart attack or something like that.
And the actor who plays Jonathan Kent in this film he does seem old, and it does seem like he looks like he's on his way out, and he sort of in the scene, if I remember correctly, he sort of tries to run and keep up, and he's sort of that. Oh no, it's like, oh, what's happening? And, I think as a kid I didn't quite understand that it was just his time, and that funeral scene, it sets off the whole kind of journey for him to walk to the north, and and then we get to the Fortress of Solitude, which is always great. I don't think there's been a better fortress, has there? I mean,
what?
I said I don't think there's been a better fortress.
It just the look of it is excellent. I think I did misspeak. Obviously, I said Jonathan Kent didn't die in New Adventures and Man of Steel, but he obviously does die in Man of Steel, but in a different way to the rest of it.
We'll have to do that for a different review because we could be here for
we'll
hours.
save that for another day. But yeah, like you said, it leads to it's a catalyst for him to go and look for answers. Who he is. Why is he here? What's his purpose? All that sort of stuff, and like you said, leads to that fortress that just looks amazing. Is that the crystals? It's all alien, but it looks like ice, but it's not, and
it's pretty out of order, isn't it? Because when he goes there, like he basically begins his learning, and it's like, isn't it like 12 years or something?
It's something mad like that, yeah.
It's something crazy. I mean, people correct us if we're wrong, but it's like his mum must have been for 12 years. Like, where is he? Where's my son gone?
He could have run back. Do you know what I mean? It's not going to take him that long.
Yeah, and during break time.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he couldn't have been doing it solid for those 12 years. What did he eat?
But yeah, obviously it results in him because that's when you see Christopher Reeve fly off, and it's like, he's arrived, but you don't really see him, but you do, and then he turns up as Clark, and I mean, when we get, like I say, got to that helicopter bit, it sets it. I think they have like a little montage, don't they, where he sort of goes into the city and gets like the robbers and the plane, doesn't he? He's like flying in the plane. The plane exploded engine.
Yeah. Is that when someone looks out the window and is like?
He's like, just fly. Don't look. Just fly. But
because the guy looks like, don't look, just.
I don't know. I'd be like, I want to see. What are you talking about? How's the plane flying?
No, exactly. yeah, it's just all of that is just it's so good, and obviously, like I think we sort of touched on, another big pro for me is the music, like we said earlier, just
Mhm.
so good in every respect. I mean, the Superman theme, I don't think anyone would be sad to hear it again,
Mm.
properly in a Superman film. I don't think anyone would be like, "Oh, that's so lame." I think everyone would just cheer and be
Well, they put it
happy.
in. They put it in Justice League, but I think we can agree they put it at the wrong bit, which didn't really
Yeah,
make
I
any
feel like
sense.
it was a bit of a waste. They could have put it in a different place, or just let it have a bigger moment. Like they put the
Mm.
the Batman theme, the Danny Elfman original Batman theme at the right time for Batman in that film.
Yeah,
But it just felt like they put it at the wrong time for Superman, where it didn't really have the impact that you'd maybe hoped it did.
yeah.
Um,
The end would have been better.
yeah, like after he turns up and he's like, have the music play then or something, because
Yeah,
it's just so.
even just thinking about the difference between like Justice League and Superman the movie is just it's so different. Like just different incarnation, and
Just,
know,
and
I can't believe
I still think,
we've been talking this long and we haven't even talked about Lex Luthor.
yeah, that's what I mean. I think that's just it's a credit to Christopher Reeve, really, isn't it? And just how good he is. But like you said, Lex Luthor is just Gene Hackman. I forgot to mention him again at the beginning, just because obviously the others are so big. But Gene Hackman, again, the film doesn't work without him. He's so engaging as Lex Luthor on the screen.
Yeah.
So
and at the
so
time,
good. He's just a good character.
And at the time this film was out, he's pretty dark, to be fair. I mean, nowadays he would come across very, bit of a nothing villain. He wants to destroy California and kill thousands of people, and he's totally not bothered about it. And
he's not bothered about killing Superman, even throwing him in the water, giving him the kryptonite necklace, throwing him in the pool, thinking he's going to drown or whatever. He didn't care.
Yeah. It's really hard for me to hate any part of this film because it's just so good, and I still probably see it through kid eyes. But look, what's his face? His friend.
Mr. Luthor. What's the guy's name?
Yeah, him. I know his name, but I can't remember it now. But
I can't bloody remember his name.
But yeah, I think he's probably a con on my list now. It's just a bit.
Test my car.
Yeah, you guys know. You guys are shouting at us. I just
it's just like you said. There's not many. You'd have to be really nitpicking.
Otis. There we go. I didn't look it up, by the way. I literally didn't look it up. Like it probably sounds like I did.
It's just so many good parts of this film. You'd have to really be nitpicking to really to put some cons on. But I guess just to sort of even out the love fest, because obviously we both clearly love the film.
Yeah,
I'd say obviously from at this point, 40 years after it clearly has aged. Some of the special effects aren't that great. Obviously, there was limitations of the time. Consider I think it won an Oscar for special effects. I think at the time, so it just shows.
It was the first. I think it was the first film where they attempted a man flying, and it was like never really been.
Unbelievable. Right? But, if you're looking back at it now, it is sometimes like, oh, it's a bit hard to watch some of this stuff.
I mean, I can't see any strings, but maybe.
And so I mean, as I said, that's not really fair, is it? That's not their fault. It just is. If you were going to be really picky or really, really annoying about it, just to come up with something, I guess.
The only thing we can really pick apart is that turning back time, which
that's probably the only real con for me.
It's but the build up's so good. The scream, the
anger, everything, because
he's there for a good 10 seconds with Lois dead, and you do feel that weight of her being gone, and it's like, well, what's he going to do? Oh, quick fix. But
and I guess
it never bothered me until how things are now, where people analyze everything, and I was fine with it at the time.
But yeah, I guess you just think then once you can turn back time by doing that, like why would you just not do it every single time something happens. You know, like I think when you're that powerful, you can just turn back time. It sort of leaves. It doesn't make it easy to have any.
He should have had consequences because he was warned, wasn't he, in his training about, you know, you can't interfere with human timelines or something, and you know,
like he should
have had some sort of repercussion for doing it. You know, maybe Jim die or someone else, and
someone else dies. You know, maybe his mum dies because of it, because something else happens, or you know, whatever it was. You're right. There should have been some consequences to him doing it. I mean, to be honest, So, but obviously back then, this was such new water, wasn't it? You got to think about it from their perspective. That was like the first time anything like that was really tried. So, you know, it's easy to now go, oh, they should have done that and this, because we've seen like 1,000 comic book films, and you know, we've seen some amazing ones. We've seen some of the worst ones, and but that was one of the first. You know, that was, like you said, that set the platform for.
Yeah, no, I love it. Overall, love it. You know, recommend it to people. I'll watch it over and over again until, you know. That's it.
I'll be showing it to my kids. I'll be showing it to my grandkids. I'll be showing it to, you know. It's just, for me, it's just so good. And
I think I don't know if it's this one or the second, but there's one where, you know, he's flying in the sky, and it's like they can be a great people, Kal-El. You know, they wish to be. They only. I think it might be Returns. But it's obviously used. But you know, just that feeling of, this guy is super. He can fly around. He can do these things, but somehow mankind is like inspired by it. You know, and want to, like, there's like a bettering of people almost because Superman's around. You know what I mean? It's.
I guess that leads on to, you know, obviously we could do a discussion on Superman, because we both enjoy the character. Have watched all the different versions of him over the years. I don't think I've ever watched the original TV one where he sort of jumps in off a trampoline and stuff. But you know, and some of the older bars, you know, seen the cartoons, you've seen the films, you've seen the movie, you know, the TV shows. All different ones. So I guess we could have a conversation about that, you know, if in the future, like, you know, that'd be a good one, I think.
Go see where it takes us, I suppose.
Because you know, I think, and like you said, I recommend the film as well. So I think that sort of leaves it for our first one. I think we both, as you said, recommended. You know,
I've got to say the Superman S on the chest as well.
Great. That was actually, I forgot to get to a pro, was the suit. So iconic suit, iconic actor, performance, everything, music, the whole lot. So excellent. So I would say, I think that's it for our first one.
I'd say we agree. Probably wholeheartedly on it, don't we? So
they're
not all going to be like this. Let's be honest, they're not all going to be like this.
I think there's a few that we have lined up that definitely will not have us agreeing either way.
Let's start on the right. Let's start at as we mean to go on. Positive. Before we have our own separate channels.
Yeah, we're definitely going to start positive. I think we'll do a few positive ones first, right? You know, we'll keep it, or not necessarily positive ones. We'll do ones that we both agree on, I think is the way I'll put it. So not necessarily good reviews, but they may be rubbish films, but we'll both agree that they're rubbish. So so we'll do the less contentious ones later on, where we've maybe got a couple of hours to discuss why we don't like such films.
Sounds good. All right, yeah, cool.
All right, man. So thanks for listening, and hope you enjoyed.
Cool.